Labor and the Greens have criticised Israel over its banning of the UN Palestinian Refugee Agency. Israel's parliament listed the UN Relief and Works Agency as a terror organisation on Monday. Joining me live is UNRWA Senior Communications Manager Jonathan Fowler. Thanks for your time. We know the situation is dire in Gaza. Is aid getting through right now?
If I may, I'd just like to correct one point. We were actually not listed as a terror organisation. This was an original draft of the law, and that was removed before this law was passed. It's important that the facts be straight on this. But just regarding the issue of Gaza, I mean, clearly the implications, because the bills which have been passed, one of them is in a no-contact policy between Israeli officials and UNRWA officials, and that risks severely hampering, if not ending, the aid operation that we have in the Gaza Strip, because we are the backbone of the international aid operation in Gaza. Without us, the international aid operation risks falling apart. So the big question is, what happens now?
The legislation passed by Israel has sparked strong international condemnation, including here in Australia. What do you make of the international response so far?
I mean, it's important that supporters of what we do and supporters of multilateralism, supporters of international law, step up and speak out, because this decision goes completely against all standards of international law. Israel finds itself in breach of the United Nations Charter, of its obligations under international law by taking this step. So various member states spoke out very vocally about the need for these bills not to go to Parliament when they did and when they were passed. We've also had very vocal support to criticise these laws. We have to hope that momentum continues, and we'll just have to see what happens. But as it stands, I mean, our operation we cannot bring down the guillotine on the operation in the Gaza Strip, because that basically means unplugging the life support system for people in the Gaza Strip.
Israel strongly believes 12 UNRWA staff were involved in the October 7 massacre of Jews in Israel by Hamas, and says up to 10% of UNRWA staff are linked to terror groups. UN investigators found 9 employees may have been involved, and those people were terminated. Are you 100% sure that there are no terrorist sympathisers and Hamas-linked employees in your ranks right now?
Whenever we receive any allegations, we move swiftly to root out people where breaches of neutrality are proven. I mean, this is fundamental to how the United Nations system works anyway. You know, and UNRWA is one of the most scrutinised agencies in the UN system. There's no mystery about who the staff are of UNRWA. The fact that our staff, their names are shared with the Israeli authorities and other authorities in the region, their names, their functions, their IDs, every year. We never had any pushback on these individuals. We hear all kinds of figures being thrown around. Certainly Israeli officials have talked about, you know, more, but no evidence has ever been provided. But the problem is we also hear the kind of rhetoric where Israeli officials have said the entire agency is somehow beholden to Hamas, or, you know, taken over by Hamas. But, you know, if we've got evidence that potentially 9 people took part in the October 7th attacks, which I want to stress we have repeatedly condemned as absolutely abhorrent, those attacks, 9 people in an agency of 30,000 people, of whom 13,000 people work in Gaza. In no way, shape or form can that be described as utterly infiltrated. It's mathematical, statistical nonsense.
OK. Jonathan Fowler, we're out of time, but thank you for coming on the program.